Have you ever wondered why some days a child needs more or less sleep? Why is it that they sleep well after swimming? And why is it that sleep schedules only work for a minority of babies and children? Sleep biology is one of my favourite topics, and today I'll be digging into one of the big aspects of sleep biology that can transform your clients' bedtimes, naps and nights. I'm Lindsay, and I'm proud to have trained over 600 fabulous professionals through the Holistic Sleep Coaching Programme, the most comprehensive evidence-based sleep programme for those wishing to pursue an extraordinary business supporting families gently with sleep. I'm often saying that understanding the intricacies of sleep biology is the aspect of sleep most often missing from mainstream sleep consultant education, and yet it's the part that is often the most influential and stress-free. There are so many aspects of sleep biology that you really need to get your head around if you want to make a meaningful impact on your clients who desire genuinely gentle sleep support. But today I'm only going to dig into sleep pressure. Simply speaking, you have two mechanisms controlling the sleep-wake process. One is your circadian rhythm, the other is homeostatic sleep pressure. So far, so simple. But what is sleep pressure and how does it work? In the most simple possible terms, the longer you stay awake, the more sleep pressure builds up in your brain. Eventually, accumulated sleep pressure begins to restrict activity in the parts of your brain associated with wakefulness, and sleep becomes inevitable. But let's get nerdy for a minute. Sleep pressure is the result of metabolic activity. Our bodies burn energy even at rest. When you're lying down, not thinking too hard, and not moving or digesting, this is what is known as your resting metabolic rate. You need to consume at least enough calories to end up paying your body back the energy it's used just to keep your brain, heart, lungs, liver, and all your other organs going. Any activity, whether physical or mental, that you do above your resting metabolic rate increases your body's need for energy. And where does it get that energy from? A nucleotide called adenosine triphosphate, which nearly everybody calls ATP, unless they're feeling fancy, which is mostly made in the mitochondria at a cellular level through some fairly hideously complex mechanisms such as the Krebs cycle, which we're not getting into today, thankfully. Your mitochondria are inside cells, and they're mostly responsible for generating fuel for energy. They're busy bunnies. Now, in case you thought I'd wandered off into the dark, forgotten world of your human biology classes, fear not. I promise this is all highly relevant to sleep. You see, every time your body needs energy to pick up your phone, concentrate on your favourite YouTube holistic sleep channel, or roll your eyes at the next keyboard warrior who crosses your path, you use some of that banked ATP your busy little mitochondria have been making. But your body is basically a massive series of chemical reactions, isn't it? If you use up ATP, it's like your body unwrapped a chocolate bar. But what does it do with the wrapper? It's not a perfect analogy, but essentially the recruitment of ATP for energy leads to a build-up of adenosine, the chocolate wrapper, in the brain. The more adenosine builds up, the more urgent our drive to fall asleep. The longer you've been awake, the harder you've worked, the more adenosine builds. While you sleep, by the way, your brain turns into a recycling factory and puts the wrapper back on the chocolate bar. Or in nerdier terms, adenosine is converted back into ATP. So for those who are already one step ahead, this, my friends, is why you can't actually teach children to fall asleep. It's an inevitable, automatic, homeostatic response to our human existence. This is why, for example, you can fall asleep in strange places if you're fatigued enough. And, by the way, this is also part of the secret of why we sleep in the first place. While asleep, our metabolic rate is lowered, allowing us to burn energy at a lower rate, allow for muscle and body recovery, and let your brain metaphorically take out the trash. So that's the nerdy part over, but I haven't explained yet why this mechanism means that our drive to fall asleep is variable. Let's get into it. ATP is used for everything from making new cells, breathing and blinking, to running, jumping and learning. But we don't always do the same activities every day. Our body's need for energy depends on what we're doing. That means the amount of adenosine we produce, and therefore how urgently and how much sleep we need, will be variable as well. Ever wanted to fall asleep after a huge meal? That's because it takes energy to digest all that food, especially protein, by the way, which is harder to break down. Ever had a really long, fascinating day of lectures? Okay, that might be an oxymoron, but that could also make you feel tired. Ever noticed that clients always report that their baby seems to nap really well after a swimming class? Guess what? They used up more energy. I'm a really keen runner, and I know that if I've done some speed work on the track, pushing my pace, or if I've been for a really long run, you can bet your Garmin I'm going to be hitting the hay early. It should be fairly obvious by now why that is. Very simply, the more chocolate bars you eat, the more chocolate wrappers build up, the more sleep you need. In case it's not immediately obvious then, this variability in activity levels and associated energy requirements is also the reason that strict sleep schedules and wake windows are unlikely to work well and consistently for every little one. This variability is normal. It would be an utterly bizarre human existence to always do the same activities every day. But even if you did that, life, the environment, other people, and unexpected things would crop up and alter your activities. Add to that the mixture of predictable and uniquely timed developmental phases and stages that all children experience, and it should be absolutely clear that sleep is likely to not only be unique for each child, decrease in total duration with their age, but also vary according to what's going on in their brain, body, and world. I get it though. Some clients want a kind of starter for 10. The first thing you'll need to do is manage their expectations around this. Sleep schedules have only been found to work for around 15% of little ones, according to a study by Brown and Harries, and wake windows aren't based on any evidence at all. If they work for a few of your clients, it's probably because they were an easygoing, higher sleep need or flexible temperament child. There's no harm with making a suggestion for an approximate number of hours of sleep in total across 24 hours, or the approximate number of naps to expect. You could suggest that they purely focus on their child's behavioural sleep cues, though I know for some these are harder to read. You could even suggest roughly how to position those naps, but my advice would be to use general timing cues like after lunch to avoid parents thinking they need to aim for a specific time. So finally, how do you take all this information about sleep pressure and make meaningful headway with your client's sleep? Here are my top 5 tips. 1. Empower the families you work with by educating them about sleep pressure and how variable this is based on activity levels. 2. Be aware of what's going on for the child you're working with. 3. Understand how sleep pressure also needs to be partnered with knowledge of regulation and how to facilitate calm. 4. Support parents to be okay with being flexible. There is no evidence at all that sleep timings need to be the same every day. Flexibility and adaptability are your friends. And finally, encourage lots of age-appropriate stimulation, play, and movement to optimize sleep. Children who are mentally and physically tired really do sleep better. So there we have it, your Beyond the Basics tutorial on sleep pressure and how to use this to turn sleep dramas into dreams. If you're interested in supporting families by blending science and evidence base with genuinely gentle and practical sleep solutions, then we would love to hear from you. The first step is to book a call and see if we're a good fit. All you need to do is click the link below this video. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Speak to you soon.